Hello everyone, welcome back to Fantasy Tales. Today, I will be telling you the story of Angor Rot, from what he did before the Battle of Killahead to his demise in the last season of Trollhunters. This will be part 1 of 2 covering his lore, with the next one focusing on his character and the experiences he had being Morgana's slave. Before we start, remember to like, comment and subscribe. Lets me know you enjoy this content. Also, I have a second channel called Dream Games, where me and my brother play a bunch of random games, and have recently begun a Minecraft series. So if you want to check that out, head to the description, and now, let's begin. Angor's life as a young troll is a mystery, but we do know he was a practitioner of magic and would protect his people from the threats around them, being centered around the warmer climates of the world, where it is shown that Gunmar's conquest reached far further than the borders of Killahead Wood. Unable to contend with Gunmar's might, he would travel far to find the lair of Baba Yaga, the Pale Lady, or as we know her, Morgana. Arriving at the island, he would call out her name, where a booming voice echoed. He would tell her of his wish and his desire for power to protect his people, offering his own flesh as a bargain. She would take it and transform the flesh into a ring. Her power would suddenly go into himself before feeling a sharp pain in his stomach. Betrayed, he would run away as her voice emanated in his mind, ordering him to seek out the Trollhunter and end the servants of Merlin. Angor's soul was now hers to command, and he was forced to hunt down and kill the Trollhunters. To do this, she gave him a number of tools and magic. Creeper's Son, Gum Gum magic which can turn anyone with a cut to stone. The creation of golems to be his servants, and more importantly, her own staff, which would allow him to walk in daylight through the shadow and teleport to wherever he need be. With these weapons, he would kill at least 2 of Merlin's champions before being trapped and sealed magically away in a temple of Morgana. How this happened is a mystery. Perhaps it was a mighty battle in which he was captured, or something far more nefarious. For centuries, Angor rotted in that temple until curious servants came looking for his aid. Angor would be called again to action by Strickler to end Jim. Should he do this, Strickler promised to give him back his soul. This is another mystery in the lore. Why had the Janus Order never awakened Angor before this is also unknown. Perhaps Strickler kept it secret as a backup plan if something went wrong with Bular. Again, we just don't know. Perhaps to be covered in a future video. During this time, as Strickler's pawn, he would question Strickler many times, as well as be mistreated by him, but he was unable to do anything due to Strickler's possession of his soul. Though he had to deal with Strickler Angor had his fun with Jim, never engaging the troll hunter in combat till the time was right, testing him and marking him in order to study and weaken Jim. The main way he did this was through the use of his golems, fashioning them out of his own body. Once he had tested Jim, he would attack him while on his mission of getting the second triumvirate stone in the marshes of the Quaggerwumps. He would viciously attack Jim, and even used his own weapon against him in their fight. He also used Creeper's son during the battle against Jim and Og, who would duck and dive to not be cut, but fail, and Angor would leave with the triumvirate stone. While escaping, Claire would latch onto him and be dragged into the Shadow Realm. There she would battle with Angor and be able to snatch the staff away and escape. With the loss of the staff, Angor was unable to travel far distances quickly. Surprisingly, this didn't bother him that much, as afterwards, he never really made an attempt to get it back, even though he knew exactly where she was at any time of the day. Maybe he thought Claire would kill herself with it, or he just didn't care. Angor, though, would start to get increasingly sick of Strickler and would attempt to scare the ring off of him, using pixies. Looks like we know what Sauron should have done. This goes badly for Angor, and would be his final insult to him, and he would start to take proper action to free himself sooner rather than later. He would use the pixies to invade Jim's school, but not to attack him, but to draw him out in order to talk to him. He offers Jim a cure to a spell he helped Strickler place on his mother. All he asks in turn is for his ring. Should he do this, he will leave him in peace, and both of them free to do away with Strickler as they see fit. Angor would leave and retreat into the sewers, waiting for Jim to make a decision. And in one of the dumbest moves Jim makes, he denies Angor, steals the triumvirate stone from him, and provokes him into destroying his own soul. I'll cover this moment as well in a future video, but I strongly believe that if Jim had just gave him the ring, he would help Jim and leave him alone. Again, talk for another video. With his soul destroyed, Angor felt empty inside. The only thing left was his rage. He would ravenously attack Jim, and later find Strickler and try to kill him. With nothing left to lose, he vows to kill Strickler, Jim, his friends, and everyone he knows, with Strickler only narrowly escaping. Shook out of his life, Strickler would reach out to Jim, and with his help, prepare for Angor's arrival. Turns out, they turned their brains off while preparing, and forgot the sewer entrance at the bottom of Jim's house, and Angor just walked in and began sowing chaos. Quickly engaged Jim in combat, falling for many of their traps, but being very much unaffected each time. Strickler would join in and would get manhandled by him. Jim would be able to get him upstairs and trap him momentarily before being accidentally freed by Barbara and cut Strickler, simultaneously wounding Barbara. With the two out of combat and Drawl buying them time, they would try to escape. He, though, easily dealt with Drawl, and Angor would rush out to attack Jim and co, chasing them all the way to Troll Market and only barely missing them. Even though he missed this chance, he would attack Claire and Toby while they tried to find an antidote to his wound, catching them and being more than a match for them. He would quickly have them at his mercy until he spotted a greater prize and decided to let them fall. He had nabbed Claire's bag, which held the key to Troll Market. With this, he began building an army of golems to storm Troll Market and kill every last troll and human that got in his way of retribution. Once he arrived, the battle would commence in his favor, quickly killing and gaining ground against Jim's forces, outnumbering the trolls 2-1. Tried to make up the difference, but Angor's magic was far too powerful for them to contend with. Yet they had tricks up their sleeves as well. Jim and Angor would engage in a titanic battle against one another, but would be separated, and during the fight, Toby would be caught out, and Og would jump in front of him. Toby slowly watched his friend turn to stone, while Angor looked on, laughing. Jim would re-engage Angor, leading him to the hero's forge, locking himself in to end Angor. Angor was far too powerful for Jim to defeat alone, and would be forced to the ground, rated by Angor by his decisions he has made, and how it has led to his and his friend's death. Those would be his last words as Toby came in from above and shattered him to bits, ending the life of Angor Rot. Death was too kind a fate for Angor, though. Gunmar, trying to find Merlin's tomb, would seek out the Pale Lady, who instructed him to go to her temple and resurrect Angor Rot. This time, with his soul intact, he would lead Gunmar to the tomb and witness flashes of his former experiences, something that slowly started to chip away at him. For now, though, he was preoccupied with killing Jim and avenging his death. During the events in the tomb, he would be abandoned by Gunmar and forced to escape himself. When he returned, he confronted the Dark Lord, who showed him who was truly in command. The time Angor spent with Gunmar would be insulting, but he would stay and help him free Morgana, who told him her plan of ruling the world with him beside her, something that didn't please him, not one bit. Once the eternal night had begun, Angor and Gunmar would single out Jim and attack him in the final battle of the series, keeping up with Jim's reflexes and attacks. Just quickly, I know this is the more robotic part of the two-part series of videos on Angor, but this battle is really lived up to the hype when it came out and was just so fucking cool. Back to the fight. Angor would pin Jim, where he would finally break through the rose-tinted glasses Angor had placed over himself, revealing that now that he had his soul back, he had no excuse to follow Morgana and do the bad things in his life. This weakness would be noticed, and Gunmar would chuck him to the side, knocking him out of the battle. Later he would recover and make his way to Morgana, where he was offered the vengeance he desired. Angor decided to do the one thing he has been denied his whole life, the right thing, and attacks Morgana. Buying time for Jim to stab Morgana. Failing, he remains to hold her while Claire begins forcing her into the Darklands, where he sadly met his end. Thanks to his sacrifice, though, Morgana would be defeated and the day saved. I know that was a lot, which is kinda expected. Angor was the main bad guy for the second arc of the series, and while I just sped through his moments in Season 3, it was on the bits that mattered, and this was the story, not the character of Angor. So next part will probably be a lot longer, focusing on Season 3, as that's when more of his character was shown. But if you enjoyed this video, consider liking, commenting and subscribing to the channel. The year is ending and we need that sweet 100 subs. Or at least close to it, I'm happy either way. And for now, may the glory of Merlin be with you always.